Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Christine's Stampin' Spot, and today I'm going to share how I made this sweet little card with you guys. Isn't this card absolutely adorable? I am in love with the little bundle that I used to create this card. This card was created using the Little Elephant bundle, which includes the Little Elephant stamp set and the Elephant Builder punch. Now you can purchase these separately if you want to, but if you purchase them together as a bundle, you get the bundle price, which saves you 10%. Another piece of news, I will be using, today is Tuesday, so it is time to announce my next online card class, and my next online card class will be using this bundle. Okay, I always like to share a card made with whatever I'm going to be using for my class first so you can see if it's something that appeals to you. I will have another video later today with all of the information on this online card class so you can sign up then when that video posts. And I hope that you guys sign up for the class. That is so fun and so cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is a very easy little card to put together. It takes us no time at all, so let's go ahead and get started with it. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to stamp our cute little elephant on some scrap Whisper Weight cardstock, and we're using the scrap because we're going to punch him out. Of course, you don't have to punch him out just because it comes with a punch. You could obviously, just stamp him flat on some cardstock and be done if you wanted to. But for this card today, I decided to punch him out to give him a little bit of a pop. So I am first going to ink him up in some basic gray ink from Stampin' Up, and then we are going to go ahead and stamp this down on our Whisper Weight cardstock. Look how cute he is. Oh my goodness, I love this little elephant. Okay, I'm getting a little too excited. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp him in Gorgeous Grape as well, and you'll see why in just a moment. So I've got my Gorgeous Grape. I'm going to ink him up again. I've cleaned him off with my Stampin' Scrub off camera, and I'm going to ink him up again. Now I'm not worried if the whole thing gets on this piece of paper because this purple image is just for my ear, which I'll show you in a minute. I will explain, I promise. Okay, so let's grab our punch now. And this is what the punch looks like on the back. To open our punches, by the way, they are delivered to you flat, which is great for storage. You can stack them on top of each other. To open the punch and have it ready for use, you simply push this dark gray button up, and then the punch opens, and then you slide your paper down from the top into the punch. So let's punch out the ear first. As you can see on the front shows you all of the images that are available to be punched out of this punch. You have the larger elephant, the little elephant, the little elephant's ear, the larger elephant's ear, and this little dot here, which you could use for an eye if you wanted to. So that's why I punched this elephant twice, because I'm going to make his ear purple just to go with the little color theme that we've got going on. But first I'm going to punch out my gray elephant. I was going to do the ear first, but I realized that would actually punch my elephant. So we're going to punch him first. So all you simply do is you line this up, looking in the back of your punch. Make sure you have a nice little white border around everything. You're just lining it up in your punch here, and then you punch it down. And look at that. Isn't that cute, guys? Look at him. He's so adorable. And of course, you don't have to punch the ear at all if you don't want to. It looks really adorable that way. But this is just what I chose to do for this card design. Now I'm going to come over here to the larger ear for the larger elephant. I'm going to get that lined up in the punch and then punch it down. Okay. And there's our little ear. Now before I lose that little piece of ear, I want to go ahead and get it adhered down to my elephant. So I'm going to grab a mini glue dot, a mini dimensional. These are fantastic. If you haven't checked these out yet, I highly recommend these as well as our regular dimensionals. They are absolutely fabulous if you like to add a little bit of pop to your projects. So I have added now this little mini dimensional on the back of my little purple ear and stuck it on. And it just gives that ear a little bit of a pop. So there you go. Another thing you could do is just put a little bit of glue along this side so your ear would actually kind of just stick up on one end. That would be cute as well. But I just went with a little dimensional for today's card. Okay, and there's our cute little elephant. Isn't he adorable? All right, so the next step in creating our card here is we want to grab a square piece of Whisper Weight cardstock and stamp this fun little plaid image from the stamp set. I kind of imagined that it was grass. So let me bring over the stamp case here. It's this image here. It's a really cute little plaid image. So what I've already done prior to coming on camera is I used the Stitched Shapes framelit die set to cut out this stitched square. And we are just simply going to take that image from the stamp set and our Granny Apple Green ink pad. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up, slide it forward. And now we're going to ink this image up. I always like to look on the back, make sure I have it nice and inked up before I stamp it down. And now we're just going to stamp it along the bottom of this little square piece of Whisper White cardstock. And there we go. Very cute. Look at that. Oh, it's adorable. All right, so I'm just going to clean this off really quickly here and set that aside. Now, while I have the Granny Apple Green cardstock out, I have a little strip here of Granny Apple Green cardstock that's going to go, as you can see, right here along the front of our card, and that's where I stamped my sentiment. So what I'm going to do is, since I still have this ink out, I'm going to grab that sentiment, which says a little kindness. A little kindness is a big thing, which I just love. And I'm going to ink the sentiment up in my Granny Apple Green. And then I like to give a test run when I'm not using photopolymer stamps, just to make sure I have it nice and straight on my acrylic block. And I have it upside down, as you can see. So let's fix that. Good thing I stamped it on my scratch paper, right guys? All right, and we're just gonna put the sentiment on the left-hand side here of our Granny Apple Green cardstock. And again, I'm just using Granny Apple Green ink on Granny Apple Green cardstock. There we go, really cute. A little kindness is a big thing. Okay, so we are done with the Granny Apple Green ink, so we can go ahead and put that away. Now I'm going to bring over Gorgeous Grape again, and we are going to bring back over the little square stitch square that we stamped our fun little green plaid image on. Now I'm going to bring over our little elephant just for placement purposes. I'm going to have him about there, which means I want my little thank you heart, as you can see from the finished card, somewhere up in here-ish. It doesn't have, there's no specific place you have to put this. I'm just going to put it about right there. So I'm going to ink this up in my Gorgeous Grape. It's a very solid image, so you want to turn it over and make sure you have it nice and inked up. So give it a look-see there, and then we're just going to stamp it, you know, right about here. That looks good. Press down and lift up. There we go. Very pretty. So next, we are going to go ahead and close this up for now. We're going to need one more stamped image, but we're going to wait on that for just a second. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab some white baker's twine. Now this happens to come from the most recent paper pumpkin kit, which I'm just using it up, but it's the same white baker's twine that you would get in the catalog that comes on a big spool like this. But again, I'm just going to use this up really quick, so that's why it looks a little different. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to tie a little tiny bow to kind of go at the bottom of our little thank you heart balloon. So I'm just going to tie just a little tiny bow here and then make the ears of the bow quite little. We just want a little bow. So I'm going to pull the ends to decrease the size of the ears of the bow, and then I'm going to give it a little trim with my paper snips here to trim off the ends. There we go, and there we go. Okay, now I'm going to take a little mini glue dot and put it right on the back, in the back of this bow. So let me grab my mini glue dots here. And I'm just gonna pick it up with the little bow itself, and I'm gonna make the glue dot even smaller with my fingers by just kind of wrapping it around, like sticking it to itself. Otherwise some little sticky will come out of the back, and we don't want that. And I'm just gonna stick it right at the bottom of our little heart. There we go, super cute. Now I'm going to actually peel this up. I forgot a step. Now I have the end of a new strand of white baker's twine. I'm going to stick that to that same glue dot as well, just to the bottom of that glue dot, and then stick the whole thing down. Does that make sense? I just neglected to do that before. So now I have a fresh string hanging down that's also stuck to the same glue dot. And I still have it on the spool because I'm not quite sure how long I want it yet. Now I'm going to set my elephant down just for placement. And I'm going to want a little glue dot oh, right about there. So yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just put a little glue dot on the trunk of the elephant. So let me grab my glue dot again, and I'm just going to use the edge ends of my scissors this time and to pick up the glue dot, and then I will simply stick that on the back of the little elephant's trunk. So it's stuck there. Now while I have the elephant out, I'm going to go ahead and stick some regular size dimensionals down onto the back of our elephant, because I want him to pop just a little bit from this panel. So I think 2 dimensionals should do the trick. I'm going to peel off the backings here of our dimensionals, and now we are just simply going to, whoops, get that backing off. And now we're just going to go ahead and stick this down where we want our elephant. And now we can take our paper snips here and trim that twine and then scooch it over and stick it to the glue dot on the trunk. Does that make sense? So now that the end of the string is hidden underneath our little elephant's trunk. Keep wanting to say beak, but it's obviously a trunk. All right, so this is this little panel all finished up here. And I just think it's oh so cute. Isn't that adorable? And that barely took us any work at all. So the next thing that we have to do is to start to put this card together. I have a gorgeous grape scalloped square that's going to layer behind our white stitched square, and this is from the Scallop Squares Framelit Dies, and I made a smaller one so just a little tiny bit sticks out from behind the white. So let's go ahead and put some snail on the back of the Whisper White square here, and then we will stick this, just center it here on top of this gorgeous grape scallop square. And I think that's adorable, just that little hint of that pretty purple color sticking out. So now we can set this aside for a moment. The next step is, as you can see, I have these little flowers stamped right here from the stamp set. I thought that was a cute little touch. So what I'm going to do is bring over this piece of basic gray cardstock, and this measures 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then remember that little strip that's 4 1/4 by 1 inch that we stamped our sentiment on? Well, I'm just going to, for placement purposes, stick that right about there. And then we have the little flower stamp from the set, which is here. All right, and that's just gonna go right above the sentiment, and it's going to be stamped in the gorgeous grape ink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this panel. We know that this is 1 inch tall, so I'm gonna just kind of put my little ruler to the left-hand side there to sort of help me with placement. I'm going to get my flower stamp nice and inked up, and then I'm simply going to, at the top of the ruler where 1 inch would be, you could also use your grid paper for this, I'm just going to stamp down these cute little flowers, like so. There we go. Nice and simple. Now we are all done with our stamping, so we can close up our gorgeous grape ink, remove the ruler here, and now when this goes down, you can see the little flowers are going to be right on top. Isn't that cute? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's adhere this piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock to the top of our gorgeous gray, basic gray panel, like so, and it just goes flush with the bottom of this basic gray panel here. All right, now we are going to stick this onto a gorgeous grape panel to layer behind this, and this gorgeous gray panel is going, this gorgeous gray panel measures 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. And by the way, I will have a link in the description box of this video below to my blog, which will have all of the measurements for this card, as well as a link to all of the products that were used to create this card if you are interested in purchasing anything. Okay, so that's what we have so far. The next step is we want to layer this little panel onto something. So I chose to do a piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock. This measures 5 1/4 by 4, and I ran it through my Big Shot with my polka dot embossing folder, and I just just add a little bit of texture, and we're going to layer this panel on top of this green cardstock. So let's put some adhesive on the back of this, like so, and then we'll just center this in the middle of this Granny Apple Green embossed cardstock, just like that. Very cute. I think that's adorable. And then finally, we have a thick Whisper White card base here, which measures 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4 1/4. And this is what everything is going to rest on. So we're going to put some adhesive on the back here. Because this is embossed, I'm putting extra adhesive to help it stick down thoroughly to this thick Whisper White card base. I'm going to center this to our card front and stick it down. And then finally, we're going to bring back over our little elephant panel, which is oh so adorable. I'm going to turn it over, grab a few dimensionals. There we go. Oops, one too many there. Okay. Peel off the backings of our dimensionals. Okay, and then stick this down. Some fibers stuck. All right, and this is what the card looks like. How cute is this? I hope you love this card. I think it is so adorable. For a finishing touch, I did add some Gorgeous Grape striped ribbon to the top of the card base, and I'll show you how I did that really quick. So I just stick it inside the card like so, and then I unwound enough to allow me to create a bow at the top. This particular style of ribbon comes in a few different colors, and it's really pretty in person. I don't know if it's going to show up as, you know, if the camera is going to do it justice, because this is absolutely gorgeous ribbon. So I'm just tying a cute little bow here along the top of our card base, and I'm going to, again, make it a little smaller by pulling on the ends there. Pull tight. Tight little bow there. And you can of course fiddle with it more if you want, but for the purposes of the video, I'm going to call that done. And now I'm going to trim the ends here. And then I'm going to grab a little glue dot. I like to do this when I have ribbon going along the top, just to help the bow stay in place. I grab a glue dot and I place it on the back of the bow. And that's going to help this ribbon not move around so much. It's just going to kind of keep it in place there for us. And then for a final touch, I'm going to grab some of our glitter enamel dots, which I think are absolutely gorgeous. And just so happens, one of the colors in this pack is Granny Apple Green, which goes perfect with our color theme today. I really love this basic gray, Granny Apple Green, and Gorgeous Grape color combo. It's certainly not one that I would have ever thought of, but I was just planning this card and, you know, putting various colors together. I knew I wanted the gray for the elephant, and everything else just sort of fell into place after that. So my little enamel dots are a little crooked here. Let me fix them. Luckily, you have some forgiveness with these enamel dots until you really stick them down, so you can get them placed exactly where you want. I don't know why I struggle with these enamel dots like this. It took me like 10 minutes to get them where I wanted them on the first card. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Good enough for the video. You guys get the idea, right? Don't judge me too harshly on my lack of ability on the enamel dot placement, please. All right, guys, so this is it. This is our cute card for today. Here's the one I made before coming on camera, and the one on the right is the one we just made together. I think it is so sweet. I love the little images that are available in this stamp set. So make sure to stop by later today for another video on my next online card class, which will use this bundle. All right, guys, thank you so much again for stopping by. Have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.